December 3, 2024, South Korea experienced a brief but intense political crisis when President Yoon Suk-yeol declared martial law, accusing the opposition Democratic Party of undermining the country's democracy. The martial law, which lasted only 6 hours, included restrictions on political activities, media freedom, and labor strikes. Protests erupted across the nation, and the National Assembly quickly declared the martial law unconstitutional. Facing mounting pressure, Yoon rescinded the order and later faced impeachment proceedings. The event exposed deep political divisions in South Korea and highlighted the fragility of its democratic system. With future political stability now uncertain, welcome to Black Bloc Hong Kongers, your go-to channel for in-depth discussions on international politics and global crises. Stay tuned as we uncover the truths behind the headlines. Like, share, and subscribe to join our community of critical thinkers. On the night of December 3, 2024, South Korea experienced an unprecedented political shock. The event unfolded rapidly and intensely, but just as quickly ended. The 6-hour martial law period not only reflected the depth of South Korea's political crisis, but also demonstrated the resilience of its democratic system in the face of challenges. Below, we will break down the occurrence, escalation, and conclusion of this historic event. Since taking office in 2022, President Yoon Suk-yeol has faced a challenging tenure. As a former prosecutor, he entered politics with an anti-corruption image, but his lack of stable political allies, especially as the opposition Democratic Party has controlled over half of the seats in the National Assembly since the 2020 parliamentary elections, has made him vulnerable. This situation has led to serious obstacles to his policies. The Democratic Party, using its majority in the National Assembly, has blocked several budget proposals from Yoon's government and has submitted up to 20 motions to impeach cabinet members. The divide between the executive and legislature has paralyzed Yoon's administration, and his approval ratings have remained low, fluctuating between 20% and 30%. Domestically, he has faced strikes by healthcare workers, economic slowdowns, and social inequality issues. In foreign policy, his pro-US stance has led some domestic voters to believe that he has neglected South Korea's delicate balancing act with China and North Korea. Against this backdrop, Yoon's political predicament has deepened. At 11 p.m. on December 3rd, an emergency broadcast interrupted South Korean television channels. President Yoon Suk-yeol declared a nationwide martial law. His speech was harsh, accusing the Democratic Party in the National Assembly of being pro-North Korea, anti-national forces, claiming they were manipulating legislation and rejecting budgets to destroy the liberal democratic system and paralyze national operations. Yoon said, "These anti-national forces are depriving the people of their freedom and happiness. I declare martial law to protect the freedom of the Republic of Korea." He claimed that the martial law was a response to internal and external threats from North Korea and emphasized it was a national resolve action. According to the martial law order signed by Yoon, the South Korean military was authorized to 1. Ban all political activities, assemblies, and strikes, 2. Strictly limit media freedom and require news organizations to undergo censorship, 3. Arrest anyone spreading fake news or manipulating public opinion without court approval, 4. Force healthcare workers who were on strike to return to work within 48 hours or face legal sanctions. The martial law announcement immediately caused a stir across the nation. Thousands of citizens mobilized quickly, flooding the streets outside the National Assembly in Seoul, chanting slogans like "End martial law" and "Yoon Suk-yeol step down." Protesters blocked streets, some attempting to break through the military police barricades, resulting in physical clashes with the martial law troops. Rapid response from the National Assembly. Inside the National Assembly, The opposition Democratic Party quickly convened an emergency meeting. National Assembly Speaker Lee Won-yo publicly condemned the president's actions as illegal and unconstitutional, urging lawmakers to protect the country's democratic order. Some lawmakers even climbed over walls to enter the building, which was under military blockade, and held an emergency session with makeshift equipment. Ultimately, all attending 190 members of the National Assembly voted overwhelmingly to pass a resolution declaring Yoon's martial law invalid and unconstitutional, demanding the military and police vacate the area around the National Assembly. Division within the ruling party. Yoon's ruling People Power Party (PPP) party leader Kim Dong-yeon openly opposed the martial law, accusing Yoon of abusing power and undermining the democratic order. This stance deepened Yoon's isolation. Faced with pressure from both the streets and the National Assembly, Yoon gradually realized the situation was turning overwhelmingly unfavorable for him. According to the South Korean Constitution, when the National Assembly rejects a martial law order, the president must immediately comply. At 4 a.m., Yoon convened an emergency cabinet meeting and officially announced the lifting of martial law. In a subsequent televised address, he reiterated that the martial law was to protect democracy, while accusing the National Assembly of overusing power to obstruct the nation's operations. However, he did not address further the legal controversy surrounding the event. After the martial law was lifted, Yoon Suk-yeol found himself in a deeper political crisis. The opposition swiftly moved to initiate impeachment proceedings against him, accusing him of violating constitutional order and abusing national emergency powers. With the opposition controlling over 2/3 of the seats in the National Assembly, they had sufficient votes to pass the impeachment motion. Under South Korean law, once the National Assembly approves an impeachment motion, the Constitutional Court must make a ruling within 180 days. If the court upholds the impeachment, Yoon will be removed from office, with the Prime Minister stepping in as interim president and organizing new elections. Given the deepening political division and public opinion, Yoon's presidency is now in grave jeopardy. Domestic reaction. The crisis has deepened South Korea's social divisions. Supporters of Yoon argue that he was trying to defend liberty and democracy, while his opponents accuse him of attempting to restore military-style rule. Protests continue, and calls for impeachment grow louder. International reactions. The United States and the United Nations expressed concern over the event, urging South Korea to resolve its differences through the rule of law. China, officially silent, saw many nationalist voices on social media mocking the incident as a failure of Western democracy. Long-term impact. Though the brief martial law has ended, it exposed the fragility and division of South Korea's democratic system. Moving forward, South Korea needs to find a new consensus in the context of its political polarization, or this crisis may become the precursor to deeper chaos. Yoon Suk-yeol's martial law action was terminated within 6 hours, demonstrating the strength of South Korea's democratic system. However, the event also serves as a wake-up call, highlighting the need for South Korea to address its political gridlock and polarization. While democracy may have held its ground for now, the country must find ways to avoid future crises. Thank you for watching BlackBlock Hong Kong's Global Insight Network. Like, share, and subscribe for in-depth analyses on international politics and critical issues. Explore these videos next and join the conversation for a more insightful world.